A gray tabby cat wearing a tiny postal cap and carrying a leather satchel, riding a fluffy white cloud above a sleepy village with a crooked house below, in a soft, watercolor style with warm sunset colors. On a puffy white cloud above the sleepy town of Willoughby, a gray tabby cat named Jasper tipped his postal cap. Strapped across his back was a leather satchel, heavy with letters that smelled of longing and secrets. These weren't ordinary letters. They carried words people were too shy or scared to say aloud. Jasper purred softly and nudged the cloud with his paw. "Time to make someone's heart a little lighter," he whispered, and the cloud drifted down toward the chimney of a crooked little house. A cozy kitchen with warm firelight, a gray tabby cat wearing a postal cap and leather satchel beside a young girl at a wooden table, an open letter with wobbly ink showing, "I miss you, Grandpa," a steaming kettle on the stove, soft shadows from a fireplace, whimsical illustration style. Jasper landed softly on the old slate roof, his paws silent as moonlight. He slid down the chimney like a gentle breeze and landed in a cozy kitchen where a kettle whistled a lonely tune. At the table sat a girl named Lily, her chin resting on her hands. She stared at an empty chair across from her. Jasper patted over, tail high, and nuzzled her hand. From his satchel he pulled a letter with her name in wobbly ink. "For you," he seemed to say, and Lily's eyes widened as she read the words she'd been too shy to write. "I miss you, Grandpa." A cozy, warmly lit kitchen with a girl holding a letter and a tiny brass key in her hand. A fluffy gray cat with a satchel stands by a pantry door with a glowing golden handle. The girl looks curious and hopeful, soft shadows of evening outside the window. Lily clutched the letter to her chest, her heart thumping like a butterfly in a jar. She looked at Jasper, whose green eyes sparkled like morning dew. "How did you know?" she whispered. The cat just blinked slowly, then reached into his satchel again. This time, he pulled out a tiny brass key, no bigger than her thumb. He dropped it into her palm with a soft clink. Lily turned it over, and on the back, etched in delicate swirls, were the words, "For the lock in the attic." Jasper mewed softly, then trotted to the pantry door, which now had a shimmering golden handle she had never noticed before. He looked back at her, tail curling like a question mark. A young girl in a cozy kitchen stands before a narrow, shadowy staircase hidden behind an open pantry door. A small golden handle gleams on the door, and a tiny brass key is in the keyhole. A gray cat with green eyes sits on the first wooden step, looking back at her expectantly. Warm light from the kitchen contrasts with the dusty darkness of the stairs above. Lily's breath caught in her throat. She had passed that pantry door 100 times, and never once seen a golden handle. Now it gleamed like a fallen star, warm and inviting. She tiptoed across the kitchen floor, the brass key cold and real in her hand. Jasper's tail flicked once, twice, as if saying, "Hurry up." She slipped the key into the keyhole. It fit perfectly. With a twist, she heard a soft click, and the door swung open to reveal a narrow staircase winding upward into dusty shadows. The air smelled of old wood and forgotten secrets. Jasper padded onto the first step and mewed again, his eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. A dimly lit, narrow wooden staircase winding upward into warm golden light, with a young girl tentatively climbing after a gray cat, dust motes floating in the air, and a small blue door with a crescent moon carving at the top, soft honey-colored glow emanating from the door's edges. Lily hesitated at the bottom step, her heart thumping like a drum. The stairs creaked under Jasper's paws, each groaning echoing in the stillness. She took a deep breath and placed one foot on the first step, then another. Dust motes danced in a thin beam of light from somewhere above, swirling like tiny fireflies. The air grew warmer as she climbed, and the scent of old wood mixed with something sweet, like honey and cinnamon. At the top, a small door waited, painted a soft blue with a crescent moon carved into its center. Jasper sat before it, his tail curled neatly around his paws, and looked back at her with eyes that seemed to say, "This is it." A cozy, magical attic room with a blue-painted door showing a crescent moon, shelves of glowing jars and tiny glass animals, a round wooden table with a candle and an open leather journal, golden light filling the space, and a curious cat sitting by a window overlooking a starry night sky, warm honey cinnamon tones, soft dust motes dancing in the air. Lily reached out and touched the crescent moon on the door. It felt warm under her fingers, as if it had been waiting for her. She pushed gently, and the door swung open without a sound. Inside, the room glowed with a soft, golden light. Shelves lined the walls, filled with jars of sparkling dust, tiny glass animals, and books with covers that shimmered like stars. In the center, a round table held a single candle and a worn leather journal. The sweetness of honey and cinnamon wrapped around her like a hug. Jasper patted in and nudged her hand, then jumped onto a cushion by the window, where the night sky stretched wide and full of wonders. A cozy, magical room with wooden shelves full of glowing jars and starry books. A round table with a candle and an open leather journal. A little girl and a cat bathed in golden light, with a crescent moon on the journal page. Warm honey cinnamon atmosphere. Whimsical children's book illustration style. Lily stepped closer to the table, her eyes fixed on the journal. Its cover was soft and weathered, etched with a crescent moon that matched the one on the door. She opened it carefully, and the pages rustled like whispered secrets. The first page read in loopy, silver letters. To the dreamer who finds this door, every star you see tonight has a story. What will yours be? A warm breeze seemed to sigh through the room, and the candle flickered, casting dancing shadows. Jasper purred deeply, his fur glowing faintly in the golden light. Lily smiled, her heart thumping with quiet excitement. A close-up of an open children's book, with a glowing, illustrated starry night sky on the page. A child's finger touching one sparkling star that emits a soft, warm light. A glowing cat's silhouette in the background. Magical atmosphere with golden candlelight and shadows. Lily turned the page, and a shimmering illustration of a night sky unfolded before her. Tiny specks of silver sparkled like real stars, and as she traced her finger over one, it pulsed with a soft, warm light. Beneath the picture, the words read, "Every star is a door to a memory." She looked up at Jasper, who blinked slowly as if to say, "Keep going." Taking a breath, Lily turned to the next page, and the air around her seemed to hum with magic. A magical glowing tree in a misty twilight garden, with leaves like tiny lanterns, each showing a faint, flickering scene. A young girl holding one glowing leaf in her hand, surrounded by swirling blue and violet colors. Dreamlike illustration, soft watercolor style with shimmering light effects. Page 9. As Lily's fingers touched the new page, a swirl of colors, deep blue and violet, swirled like ink in water, forming a misty garden. At its center stood a towering tree, with leaves that glowed like tiny lanterns, each one holding a faint, flickering image. The words beneath read, "Here grow the memories we plant with kindness." A single leaf drifted down, landing in Lily's palm, and inside it she saw her own smile reflected back. Warm and golden. A mystical garden in deep blue and violet hues, centered on a towering tree with lantern-like glowing leaves. In the foreground, a young girl with auburn hair holds a single luminous leaf in her palm, her warm golden smile reflected inside it. The leaf shows tiny, fluttering scenes of kindness. A girl with braids laughing, an old man feeding birds, a mother with a baby. The tree's branches stretch into a dark, misty sky, each leaf casting a gentle light. Lily gasped softly as the leaf in her palm pulsed, the golden warmth spreading through her fingers. She peered closer, and noticed that her reflected smile was not alone. Tiny shapes moved within it. There was a girl with braids laughing, an old man feeding birds, a mother cradling a baby. Each shape flickered, then settled into a soft glow. "These are the seeds," Lily whispered, understanding at once. Every kind word, every gentle deed, grew into a memory here, bright and alive. She looked up at the glowing tree, and for the first time, she felt she was part of something much larger than herself. A young girl stands under a vast glowing tree, her open palm cupping a swirl of golden light filled with tiny, vivid scenes of kindness. The tree's leaves shimmer with silver and gold, and soft, luminous seeds float in the air around her. Ethereal, dreamlike illustration in warm, enchanting colors, children's book style. A breeze stirred the leaves, and a single, silver note drifted from the branches, like a distant bell. Lily turned her palm, and the golden warmth shimmered into a tiny, swirling galaxy of light. She saw a boy sharing his lunch, a woman planting flowers, a child bandaging a doll's knee. Each scene was a seed, and each seed held a story. They're all connected, she breathed, feeling the tree's heartbeat hum in her own chest. The air smelled of honey and rain, and somewhere a bird sang a melody she almost remembered. A young girl with a glowing galaxy in her open palm, standing before a vast tree with shimmering leaves. Golden light swirls around her, revealing tiny scenes of kindness. A man fixing a fence, a girl sharing an umbrella, a cat comforting a child. The sky is soft and honey-colored, with rain-sweet air and a distant bird in flight. A soft glow pulsed from the center of Lily's hand, and the tiny galaxy swirled faster. From within the light, a new scene emerged. A man mending a fence, a girl sharing her umbrella, a cat curling up with a lonely child. The tree's leaves rustled, and each leaf seemed to whisper a name. Not of people, but of kindnesses given and received. Lily felt a tug in her chest, like a thread pulling her upward. She looked at the tree and understood. This was the great story of the world, written in small, golden moments. A young girl floating mid-air, reaching toward a glowing tree with golden leaves, each leaf shimmering like a mirror. Below her, a man fixing a fence, a girl closing an umbrella, and a cat with a child are illuminated by soft, warm light. Ethereal, storybook illustration style, with soft watercolors and gentle sparkles. Lily's feet lifted off the ground, not with a leap, but as gently as a dandelion seed caught by the wind. She floated toward the tree, her hand still glowing, and the leaves around her shimmered like tiny mirrors. Below, the man finished mending the fence and smiled at no one. The girl closed her umbrella as the rain stopped, her friend's shoulders now dry. The cat purred, its warmth seeping into the lonely child's heart. Lily reached out and touched a single leaf. It hummed with a name: Patience. She knew it belonged to the man who fixed a fence for a neighbor he'd never met. The tree whispered another name: Courage. That was the girl who shared her shelter. A magical glowing tree with shimmering, mirror-like leaves at twilight. A floating girl with a glowing hand reaches toward a sad boy on a swing. The swing moves gently on its own, and a golden leaf falls toward the boy's open hand. Soft light and gentle forest colors. Lily held the name, Patience, in her heart, feeling its quiet strength. She turned and looked past the shimmering leaves. Far below, she saw a boy sitting alone on a swing that hung from a branch of the same tree. He didn't swing, just sat, staring at his shoes. The tree whispered a third name: Kindness. As Lily reached toward the boy, a warm light spread from her hand, and the swing began to move gently. The boy looked up, his face softening into a small, hopeful smile. The tree hummed, and a single golden leaf drifted down to rest in his palm. A girl standing on a thick tree branch, smiling down at a boy on a swing below, a golden leaf drifting in his hand, warm sunlight filtering through shimmering green leaves, soft magical glow around the girl's hand, hopeful and gentle atmosphere, children's book illustration style. Lily smiled back at the boy, her heart swelling with a warmth she'd never known. She didn't need to speak. The kindness flowing from her felt like a soft breeze that wrapped around them both. The boy clutched the golden leaf tightly, then stood and gave a tiny wave. Below the tree, the ground seemed brighter, as if the world had remembered how to hope. Lily turned back to the tree, feeling its roots pulse with quiet joy, and knew there were more names waiting to be discovered. A young girl touching a tree trunk with carved names, a glowing star-shaped flower at the roots, soft silver light, magical forest scene, warm colors. She ran her fingers over the next name, carved deep into the bark. Anahera, she whispered. As she spoke, the leaves shimmered, and a tiny, star-shaped flower bloomed at the tree's base, glowing with a soft silver light. Lily smiled, knowing each name brought a piece of the world back to life. A young girl named Lily stands before a large, ancient tree, her hand resting on the bark where her own name is carved. Golden petals rain down from the branches, swirling around her in a warm, glowing light. The forest behind her transforms from gray and shadowy to vibrant greens, blues, and yellows, with birds flying and children visible in the distance laughing and playing. The scene is magical and full of hope, illustrated in a soft, storybook style. Lily reached the final name, the last one carved into the ancient bark. It was her own. She touched the letters gently, and a brilliant warmth spread through her hand. The tree hummed, and from its branches, a cascade of golden petals rained down, swirling around her like a gentle storm. When the petals settled, the forest was no longer a silent shadow. It was alive with color, birdsong, and the laughter of children playing among the trees. The world was whole again. A joyful girl with long hair standing under a large, ancient tree covered in golden petals and glowing names, surrounded by colorful flowers, birds, and laughing children, in a bright, enchanted forest, sunlight streaming through leaves, warm and magical illustration style. Lily smiled, her heart full. She knew now that every name in the tree was a promise, and the forest's magic was part of her story too. She whispered her name once more into the warm air, and the echo of it rippled through the leaves, a song that would never end. From that day, the ancient tree bloomed forever, and Lily became its keeper, not to guard it, but to love it, and to remind every child who passed by that they, too, were part of the great, living tapestry of the woods. The end.